There's a growing movement in the American workplace, one that's not dominated by a political party or ideology, but by real Americans who oppose the divisive rules and cancel culture mandates that have invaded many of the nation's largest companies. This is a movement of hometown America, people who want to build their careers, raise their families, and live their faith in the spirit and legacy of the American dream. At RedBalloon, we're connecting no-nonsense employers with hardworking employees, people who are passionate about bringing accomplishment and success to their workplace. If you're an employer looking for serious talent, you need to post your job on RedBalloon. And if you're an employee who's tired of a cancel culture workplace, then come to RedBalloon and find your future. Because you should be free to grow your career, and you shouldn't have to choose between your job and your values.
In a world grappling with joblessness, broken homes, and a crisis of purpose, we ask, why does work matter?
There are 1,000 answers to that. The one I like is that work makes us like God.
Well, because God works.
Work matters because you are a provider, and work gives you an avenue for providing for your family.
But that question betrays that a job's not just a 9-to-5 hobby, right? It's an opportunity to bless people. It's an opportunity to bless people at scale.
But the reality is that money is intensely important to Dominion.
I'm Kyle Hessler. I'm a salesman, real estate investor, wrestling promoter, father, husband, and a Christian. And I want to invite you to the first ever Workspace Conference in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, where we aim to glorify God through our work. Come and learn from speakers David Bonson, C.R. Wiley, Steve Jeffrey, David Reese, and Andrew Crapuchettes as we explore the theology of work, how vocations shape cultural dominion, understanding risk, and how to invest not just now, but in future generations. This conference is about action, not just theories. Join us for a prime hub of networking, career growth, and fellowship. We are building a community of impactful connections and collaborative endeavors that seek to extend beyond a single weekend. Join us June 28th and 29th at the Hilton in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. Tickets available at workspace.com. This is more than just a conference. This is a commitment to glorifying God in our work, because we aren't saved by our good works. We are saved by Christ for our good works.
Go baptize your kids. Go baptize your kids.
Yes.
This is prosperity. So baptize your kids.
You know what's good?
Toby missed this. Like Candles Messiah.
Yeah. Meets the outro of Cross Politics. You got me tearing up over here, bro. Hey, y'all, welcome to Cross Politics on the Fight Live Feast Network. It's
Go
good to be
baptize
with
your kids.
Pastor Toby, Chalk Knox. It's good to have them back in the studio. And of course, we got our regular Andrew Crapuchettes.
The regular Andrew, not the other one. Nobody wants the other one.
The irregular Andrew.
The irregular Andrew is not okay.
Hey, guys, I got some 1689 cigars for you
in the
guys.
world?
So this is a gift, or we plug them on the show.
That's
so
a lot of tobacco.
Yeah, and those are some, especially those Maduros.
Oh, there's some
I'm
John
enjoying.
Knox's up in here.
And then we got, I think this is yours already.
A whole bunch of them aren't labeled.
Let me see.
Just
Those are
illegal,
unlabeled.
Special.
We just didn't label them for you.
Oh.
That's it.
What are they though?
And then the Maduro right here
cigar
is a fantastic Maduro. And then you got the Knox right there.
Oh, this thing stink. Woo!
You like that? Yeah.
You gotta smell this, Andrew. You got the regular Andrew has to smell
the
this.
regular.
Come on, man. That's legit.
Dude, that's delicious.
Whoa,
Isn't it?
That's
That's
1689.
I know. So that's from 1689cigars.com. I've been enjoying those cigars. We actually got a new confessional line out. So 1646, 1689. We're gonna come out with a Belgian. What's the date for a Belgian?
I don't
know.
And
then
pastor's supposed to know
I'm
this
working
stuff.
on
I already passed my
I'm working
ordination.
on a creed line, and that'll likely be like our 60 by 60 fatter cigars and everything. You know, so you know, you get the Apostles' Creed, and you get the. But I want to use the dates, and we're gonna make up the date for the Apostles' Creed, like 33 AD.
that's encouraging. We're gonna make up fill in the blank for the Apostles' Creed. No big deal
for the Apostles' Creed, but you got the Nicene Creed, stuff like that.
Oh my goodness! Not so long ago, the American dream was alive and well. Employees who worked hard were rewarded, and employers looked for people who could do the job, not for people who had the right political views. RedBalloon.work is a job site designed to get us back to what made American businesses successful: free speech, hard work, and having fun. If you're a free speech employer who wants to hire employees who focus on their work and not identity politics, then post a job on RedBalloon.work. If you're an employee who's been censored at work or is being forced to comply with the current zeitgeist, post your resume on RedBalloon.work and look for a new job today. RedBalloon.work, the job site where free speech is still alive. RedBalloon.work. How was that?
That was really good.
Was it pretty good? Not too bad?
You should quit the pastor thing and like do a
Whoa.
radio announcer.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Andrew Crapuchettes is the CEO and founder of RedBalloon.work, a founder of many businesses, and is passionate about freedom. Andrew, thanks for coming back on Cross Politics.
Branding.
Branding.
Yeah. Always be branding. Isn't that nice?
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Branding.
We have a merch shop now, so if you want to be wearing shirts like this, and you can go do that kind of stuff.
Phone cases.
I am grateful to be here with you guys. It always makes me feel smarter.
You know what? When you really
Figure out what
there's
you
been a lot
know.
of things said about this show, Andrew. That is not one of them.
Are you saying something?
You take it however you want. You go home and tell your wife, I'm smarter. Or somebody makes me smarter.
Something about your culture, RedBalloon?
No.
You come over here,
It's
we're
great.
smarter?
Yep. That's it. That's exactly what I'm talking
I
about.
am always happy though when you come on the show because I know we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about the economy. Those are like my
All the
favorite
things.
things.
The things.
Yeah, man. So how's Red Balloon doing?
We are doing amazing. It's actually, we are excited because one of the things we're going to talk about on this show, remember Rush Limbaugh used to do that?
Yeah.
Like do the paper thing, and I'm not Rush, but
Nicotine stained hands.
Exactly. That's right. We're going to talk about, we did a survey of 100,000 job seekers because we've got hundreds of thousands of job seekers that have been on RedBalloon. But we are launching a new piece of software very shortly, an ATS, applicant tracking system, because there's a well-documented cases of most HR companies are woke these days.
Right.
HR tech companies
You say HR, and I just think woke.
HR tech is woke as the day is long. And if you think that Google with their algorithms or Facebook with their algorithms are discriminating or pushing their worldview, do you think HR tech companies are doing that?
Right.
100%. In fact, if you're using an ATS, an applicant tracking system from any of the major big HR tech companies, they are probably discriminating against the people you actually want to hire. So their AI is and their algorithms
they're sorting for you.
They're sorting for you,
so
that you don't actually get to hire the conservative white Christians that you wanted to hire. Instead, you're being given the diversity hires and discriminating against people you want. So we're coming out with software that's going to help you with that hiring process. Applicant tracking system.
Interesting. So did you actually see this last week? James O'Keefe did a sting on one of the vice presidents at Disney.
No.
And you got to check it out. Just the video just came out, I think 2 days ago, or maybe it's Friday. And of course, they were a girl was dating this guy or going out on a date with the vice president. And he said,
"Don't these people know?"
I know.
When the random person reaches out,
if you're a dork and a pretty girl wants to go on a date,
maybe there's more going on. They this gal got him to admit, it's like, oh yeah, Disney's not giving my mind's just so off today.
Go ahead.
Climbing the ladder, not letting people climb the ladder who are white.
Yes,
Disney.
for sure.
Like straight up admitted that, and they said, "Oh yeah, no." I mean, like I've had HR tell me that we're looking for non-white people to hire for our actors.
It was white
and
males,
actresses.
particularly.
Yeah,
white males.
White males
Absolutely. No, this discrimination.
Disney's going to get sued because of what this vice president meant.
But they're not the only one. We had a guy who he's trying to keep his job. I told him it's time to walk away, but he was told you may not get a raise or a promotion unless you become a woman. Like you need to change your gender if you ever want to, succeed in this business. Right. That kind of thing is actually pretty common right now.
Why do you sue off that? I mean, like that's workplace discrimination.
It absolutely is workplace discrimination. And he's like, you know, I want to go through a lawsuit with a huge company who has more lawyers than I'll ever have, and I'll probably lose? Because also you get the wrong judge who's like,
the judge is like, well, you can become a woman.
Yeah, do it.
I'm trying to understand, is discrimination wrong or is it okay? Where are we at on discrimination?
Well, this is the funny thing. Every interview process.
I'm trying to figure out.
No. But so every interview process is discriminating, right? You're saying, I want this person and not this person, right? It's what you're discriminating on. Like, I'm discriminating based on skills, on merit, on work ethic.
Why can't we discriminate
attitude, on race? Because that is actually covered by EEOC and it's illegal.
Right. So, but I mean,
if it's a wrong thing to do.
Right. It depends. I mean, if I want to sell something, if I own a company, I want to sell to a bunch of white people. I'm not going to hire somebody that doesn't reach that particular group of people.
I was actually going to say, in most instances, it wouldn't make any sense, and that's why it's illegal.
Right.
But I would say, I mean, there is a kind of common sense sort of thing where it's like there are certain things where you, like, if you're you want to. I mean, I know they're changing this now, but in Hollywood, but like there used to be a time in which you, like, if you want to tell a story about a black man, you'd have to hire a black man.
I like the fact that Maybelline discriminates, or used to,
right?
Okay, so that they could actually sell to women and not guys dressed up in woman's makeup, right? There's a certain form of, but
that's right.
The problem is, I don't think that we've had the certain form of morality that knows how to judge the right times in which to do such a thing, and so we just make flat out. Don't do this.
That's right. So all of it's discriminatory. It's just, EEOC says you can't discriminate on protected categories, yada, yada, yada. But the reality, like, if you read Thomas Sowell, he talks about, all these people say that women who are same skill, same ability, earn way less in the workplace, right? We see this all the time. Stanford comes out with these studies, and he's like, okay, so capitalists, if that was true, would only hire women, because if you're going to get more output with less input, you're going to make more money, right? But that's not the case, because actually, if you look at if a woman is in the workplace the entire time that a man's in the workplace, they're actually going to earn more, because they're probably a harder worker, because we're actually pretty lazy people. Let's just be honest, right? There it is. But if, like my wife, they go home and take care of kids and do all those things, yes, that has an impact on your career, and that's okay.
Or longevity.
And your longevity and your focus and all those things, right? And so, no, the market should work these things out. No, there shouldn't be an EEOC that does these laws. And any business who is discriminating, if they don't want to hire someone black because they're a racist, they're losing out on great talent. Well, and the market's going to play out. They're going to make less profit, and they're going to fail as a business. Fine, let it happen.
In a free market, though, when you have something like that, and this is part of the problem why we have to continue to regulate and make laws like that, is because the market itself isn't free. In a free market where people have the opportunity to really compete, then it's like, okay, you don't want to hire somebody black? Guess what we're going to do? We're going to go make our own industry, and it will compete with yours, and you're going to be like, doggone it. We should look. It didn't last long inside of the sports industry. Okay, we just it's like, listen, we don't want him to play here. Phew!
Yeah,
was that a black dude?
They sure can jump high.
All of them black. Oh, hey, y'all, maybe we need to change our position on how we're doing things, because the market is telling us we're not going to win like this. And so I think there's like this, but if you have a free market, but when you start controlling the market, then, and I think it was Walter Williams. My goodness, wasn't it great? We actually saw Walter Williams before he died.
That was cool.
He really
2020.
We went over to his house and got to interview him in his house.
That's amazing.
Really talked about how that the regulation of minimum wage destroyed a lot of young black people from getting into jobs, because they were saying, well, if I got to pay somebody $15 an hour, guess who I'm not hiring? Right. It's like, but if I can hire more people, make more money,
an hour, whatever,
and they learn skills, and I'm going to hire the best person for the job and where I can make the most amount of money. So deregulation actually gives minority groups the ability to actually compete in the market.
100%.
So anyway, but just once you start regulating, it gets crazy all the way up. And then,
that's right. And if you can sue, and so 75% of employers in America have had a labor-based lawsuit in the last 5 years. 75% of all employers have had a labor-based lawsuit in the last 5 years. And the vast majority of them are, you mispronounced me, which is now sexual harassment in California. Or we think you discriminated because of sexual orientation or skin color or any of these things. And the problem is, conservatives are far less likely to bring that lawsuit. So the guy who's told, you need to become a woman, he's like, I don't want to bring a lawsuit.
I don't have time for that.
I don't have time for that. I've got a family at home. And do I want to go into an expensive legal battle with an employer who has more lawyers than I'll ever have No, I don't. Right. Whereas the
I'm
liberal,
a white dude that's
and
probably going to get discriminated.
and the judge is going to say, no, you're a white dude, so it doesn't matter. You're fine.
But the
right.
good thing with Katasha Brown, she's the Supreme Court justice.
Ketanji.
Yes.
She doesn't know what a woman.
You're going to get sued.
She's not a biologist.
Yeah,
Gabe.
she's not a biologist.
What do you
so
expect
that's the
from
kind
her?
of judges you could be getting, especially in California.
So I want to know what happened. You did a survey.
Yeah, we did a survey.
And what did you find out? Because you got a paper that I want to hear.
I got a survey. Okay. So 100,000 job seekers, people who are out in the market. Many of them are at jobs where they're, whether you're stuck in a liberal job or whatever. So 100,000 job seekers. And we asked them a whole series of questions about, have you felt discriminated against, or what do you just, we're not trying to ask leading questions, but kind of jump into that. So 63% said that they are worried about workplace repercussions if it is discovered that they are Republican or a conservative.
Yeah.
And so what do? Well, they self-censor and they believe that they shouldn't live their values out loud. And then everybody else doesn't know that most of the workplace is full of hardworking Republican voting conservatives because they're all self-censoring. 75% of job seekers believe AI is being used to screen out resumes that don't align with DEI quotas.
That's funny.
Right? And nationally,
that's the system you're building to respond to that.
ATS, yes, is gonna help solve that. And so DEI discrimination, 37% of job seekers said they have actually faced quantifiable DEI related discrimination. That is up to 41% in California and down to 33% in Texas. So Texas is better, but still a third of job seekers. But this one's terrifying. In fact, 7 out of 10 job seekers, so 70%, said that they would take less money if it meant that they could work at a merit-driven, positive workplace that didn't do DEI-driven workplace discrimination. Right? So you think about the joy that you have at work when you realize that you can bring value to your employer, like your vocation. You want to work hard. You want to bring value. You want to have the autonomy and the mastery to go and do a great thing. And if your opportunities for success are based on your skin color, who your parents are, what your sexual orientation is, or what your Twitter profile shows, then nobody wants to work there, and they'd rather earn less money and work at a company that's probably posting jobs on RedBalloon.
Right. Wow.
So me and you, we're doing a webinar in July. We're doing 2 webinars. I think one's July 9th and then the other one's July 11th, I believe. They can reach out to us at contact@fightlaughfeast.com if you want to participate in that webinar, or join our email list. And RedBalloon is going to be sending out an email about the webinar also. As I understand it, I mean, one of the things that you guys have been doing is you've been helping, screen on behalf of a company. A potential candidate to hire. And so you'll be able to, I don't know, say things or screen in such a way where the company might get in trouble for screening that way because your contract, you might not fall under those same regulations.
It's actually, so what we're going to cover in the webinar is there are so many things that you can do in the hiring process that everyone's afraid of doing. Because if 75% of employers have actually gotten a lawsuit, then you're like, I'm not going to ask the question that might actually do the filtering that I need to make sure that and you can't ask, are you a Christian? When's the last time you went to church? But there are a lot of things you can do. And so I'm going to walk employers through what is a process that you can actually screen for values legally in your interview process. And you need to be careful, but we're going to give you kind of step-by-step. Here's what we do at RedBalloon when we're doing our recruiter. So one of the things we do for employers, if you want to have us just take over hiring, we do RedBalloon Recruiter. Costs $4,500. We just placed the CFO for national religious broadcaster, Troy Miller's organization.
Nice.
So we just placed the CFO for that. Family radio, we do all their hiring, Louder with Crowder. So we do RedBalloon Recruiter. We can just take over a position. We will do the hiring for you and save you an enormous amount of effort. Well, what I'm going to do in the webinar is I'm going to talk you through this process that we've now done for 250 employers in the last year to actually bring them values aligned talent without getting a lawsuit.
What are the values that you see these businesses wanting?
So it really is all over the map. So I'll give you a RedBalloon example, right? What we believe that we want to, the way that we're going to redeem the world of work, which is what we're trying to do at RedBalloon, redeem the world of work. We're going to do it by blessing employees, by blessing customers first, We're going to have them. We want every customer to be better off, better able to do their job because they interact with us. Next, we want to bless our employees. We want every employee to be a better person because they work at RedBalloon. And then we want to bless our shareholders. We want to make sure, because we understand that we're under authority. There's people that invested in us. We want to be able to bless them. And we want everybody to understand that. But customers first, then employees, then shareholders, right? And so once you've defined those things, then you can use that as part of your interview process. And what I'm going to unpack in the webinar is you aren't allowed to ask a whole series of questions about the person. When's the last time you took communion? Do you baptize your babies? You're not allowed to ask those questions in an interview. You'll you might get a lawsuit, right? But what you can do,
like what you told me one time, I love to go to jail for Jesus.
That's exactly. I think I do very well in prison. I'd love to give it a shot sometime. For
3 hours. Sitting there quiet.
Prison Mike over here.
I have to learn a few more.
But anyway, you can talk about yourself a lot in the interview process. Okay, we believe in blessing the customer. What does that mean to you? Give me an example of how you have blessed a customer in your past job. So open-ended, evidence-based questions focused on.
So you're trying to you've established your principles, your values as a company.
Right.
And so it is perfectly legitimate for you to find out, do you align with our company values?
That's right. And I'm going to unpack.
Like John Ryan says, are you allowed to put gargoyles in your offices, or is that discriminatory?
That is a legitimate question.
John's making a valid point.
Gargoyles, I think, are allowed. I'll have to talk to my lawyer.
I'm offended by gargoyles.
Are you? Okay. I don't care. It's a free country, used to be.
But so then this has to change from company to company, because if a company is explicitly Christian in how then they can say things like, well, this is actually a part of our worldview and our position.
That's right.
Of how we serve people. So we kind of have to have our values.
And here's a spoiler alert. If you are brave as a business and actually live your values out loud, it's a protection for you, right? It's a protection because it's like,
that's right.
It's like the contents of this cup might be hot. And then you burn yourself. Like I told you it was hot. Right. And
we talked to, who was that guy? We interviewed a gentleman a while ago who has an association for Christian CEOs. Remember that guy? What's that guy's
C12?
name? Yeah, C12.
Mike Sherrill.
Yeah. So he was the first guy who ever heard him say, "Here's what you need to do."
Yes,
he said, Christians and conservatives too often try to downplay their Christianity, but that's the setup for a lawsuit.
That's right. That's right.
Because you're not actually leading with who you are.
That's right.
And so then when you're taken to court and they're like, so where's the evidence that this is a deeply held value? And they're like, well, I didn't.
I prayed at one meeting one time.
Yeah, I prayed at the Christmas dinner.
And Cheryl was saying, his whole point was no, fly the flag. Whatever is important to you,
100%.
Say it out loud, say it out front, put it in your documentation, put it everywhere, so that it's like that's your protection, actually.
That's right.
In a court of law.
I mean, our logo is our protection.
That is true. And let me give you another example. Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby, we're going to glorify God in what we do. So their new manager training, and they do this in Oklahoma City every year. And they open 150 new stores a year across America. They're doing very well as a business, right?
Wow.
New manager training. It's a 2-week training. At the end of it, they say, hey, we're going to have a pastor come in and present the gospel, and we're going to have an altar call. If that makes you super uncomfortable, you're welcome to leave, but we'd encourage you not to leave.
Yeah.
And then they do that, and people come to the Lord at the end of this meeting.
I love it.
And their lawyer's super nervous, but they're like, we've been doing it for 20 years.
Right.
And we haven't had a lawsuit, just because this is a deeply held belief.
Yep.
We tell you exactly what you're coming into.
That lawyer needs to go forward.
Yeah.
Come on.
Anyway, so that lawyer actually helped found the Christian Employer Alliance, and he's like, okay, yeah, you're right. We need. So he did.
So in the same way that if companies are acting that way, and that's how they need to be, that 63% of people who aren't speaking up, that number bothers me. There's some sort of sympathy I have for them, because they're like, oh man, if I let people know that I'm not trying to fly my flag, I'm just trying to do good work.
Right.
I don't think that that's an option anymore.
Right.
Because in one sense or another, you're either going to suppress your conscience,
right,
or you're going to say, okay, look, this is who I am. You don't have to like it, but this is who I am. I am a Christian. I have a certain ethic. There used to be a value,
right?
Like, oh, this person had ethic. So watching people now, 63% of a lot of people just not do.
They're self-censoring, right? They're just like, I'm not going to say anything.
Aren't they the problem though?
They are a big part of the problem. I heard someone tell me, he's like, man, I feel captured by my 6-figure job. I'm like, well, maybe you need to learn on a little less.
Like you just found your idol right there.
Right.
But all I saw was like the rich young ruler. Like here he comes in. It's like, I've done everything.
I know.
Like,
it's hard though, right? Because for, if you're a conservative, like, okay, I need to feed my family. I got to pay my mortgage. I got to be a responsible person. Right. And that is true. But I think that there are hard opportunities out there that you should go take somewhere else. If you're in that spot. And we encourage people, don't quit your job, be fired. It's going to give you more optionality. If you're just living your values out loud, you're not being shrill, you're not being what the liberals are. You're just saying, no, on Sundays I go to church, and no, I would like a religious exemption for my DEI, for that DEI training, because it violates my religious rights, right? You're allowed to do that.
Right.
And if it costs you your job, you could win the lawsuit, but you absolutely are being an encouragement to everybody around you, right? Everyone knows this. If you're,
it's actually a trophy to the right people.
Yes.
I mean, when people hear like you got fired because you wouldn't take the DEI training, you said it was against your religion and it was against your Christian faith, like.
That sounds like a reliable guy.
You sound like a man of integrity.
I would like that person. And I mean, we're all going to be dead in 100 years. And think of every great.
Speak for yourself.
I am going to be dead.
Not for 200.
I got about 20 years left, and then I'm out.
If I could just get a quarter away to Abraham or
Methuselah.
Noah.
But you think about every great story, like. What are the names of the hobbits that stayed in Hobbiton that you can remember? Like
the old gaffer.
The old gaffer. There's one. Okay, there's one.
Crapuchettes.
No, I might be a hobbit, but I went to Mordor. No,
I did not stay back.
I did not stay back. No, the thing is, the people who do courageous things, those are the people you remember their name, and that like your grandkids are going to remember. Like, we didn't have as much money as we might have had because I stood up at work. And was brave for other people, but God blesses that kind of stuff, right? So be courageous; it's worth it.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to read this ad, and then you guys.
More.
More. Okay. Hey, folks, have you ever thought I want to do work that really matters? Yeah. Have you guys ever thought that?
I think
since we're talking about it,
good point.
More than a job, an impact. Well, Story Real Estate is making waves in our community by helping others build legacies through real estate here in Moscow. And they're looking for kingdom builders to join their tribe. If that sounds like you, go to storyrealestate.com. It's storyrealestate.com. Click on the menu and then join our team to apply today.
That's great.
We love Story Real Estate.
Yeah.
They've been helpful to me because I'm doing the housing development thing, and they've been a RedBalloon customer. They found great people. So really good folks at Story.
Well, go and sign up and want to get hired if you want to get hired and you want to move to Moscow, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And make sure that more of you sign up to do that than RedBalloon people did to sign up to be part of Story Real Estate. Okay.
That made no sense.
I was going to ask, what are you trying to say?
I don't know. But
I'm just saying RedBalloon, they've hired people from RedBalloon.
Right.
Let's get the cross-politic audience.
Tell them about cross-politic. There it is. There it is. Yes.
Wow.
Cross-politic's a bigger deal than RedBalloon. Can I say that out loud?
That's really what I'm saying.
Let's just say it out loud. Be brave, Dave. We're talking about being brave.
Me and Andrew know each other since 2005. We've been working with each other, and he knows how to interpret. He knows how to interpret me.
Andrew, I gotta ask. You guys got a conference coming up. You're going to be at. Was it next week?
Workspace.
Oh yeah, Workspace conference.
Is it this week?
Andrew,
it's this week for crying out loud.
When do you fly out? I fly out Wednesday.
Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Direct flight.
So, we have a conference coming up. Are you deciding? Inside joke.
No, he just said direct flight, like he's like the man. It's like, well, I'm flying out of Pullman, so I don't care.
I pity if I sit next to you guys.
No.
That's
true story.
The airlines wouldn't put us on the same plane. That's actually part of
it's like the president and the vice president be on the same plane.
Yeah,
it's national security.
I'm the assistant to the vice president.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I think you had a question.
No, I'm thinking about, because I know you guys got a conference coming up, but I'm thinking about our conference coming up at the end of October. Are you kind of come?
Of course I'm going to come. It'd be silly not to.
Yeah. No, but one of the things that we've been thinking about and pondering here is kind of the areas that America needs to repent at.
Yep.
And you're in the business you're in business, you're in economics.
Sure.
As you think about that and where things are and what you see in front of you, you get these every month, right? Where are some areas you're like, we need to repent here, and it's destroying us unless we do?
Yeah, I mean, it's the idol of my 6-figure job, right? Do you want your kids to? Let me put it this way: if you think that the liturgy of DEI is having no impact on you because you have that fancy job at Microsoft, and I just keep my head down during the DEI training, I don't pay attention. If you think the liturgy of DEI, and I'm calling it liturgy very intentionally, it is designed to make you think a certain way and to act a certain way. If you think that it is not affecting you, then you are not paying attention at all. And I've had a lot of people be like, oh, I do the DEI training, but I just kind of keep my head down. And then I've had a lot of people write me on RedBalloon and say, hey, I got a new job, and I didn't realize what an impact it was. I had a single mom write me, and she just said, I just wanted you to know that I got a new job through RedBalloon. And I realized I was angry every day when I came home from work, and my kids were affected by it. And they're like, Mommy, why you're happy now?
Yeah.
Right. And so don't think for a minute that your job, your vocation is not deeply impacting the relationships you're having with the people in your life outside of work.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And I think people they don't want to repent of that. They want to just, I like this. It's safe. Right. It's safe. And I think they need to repent of being safe.
They care more about
I think
security
America needs to.
than maybe how their job is even rubbing off on them.
I know, and that's a very like materialistic way of thinking about the world. It's like it has to. I mean, obviously, we are called to provide for our families,
for sure.
But to say there's no other way to do this,
right,
is to be a materialist. It's not to trust God, and it's also not recognize. I mean, you're saying like, we are going to be dead in 100 years.
Yeah,
but our grandkids are going to be here.
Yeah.
Our great grandkids.
And what legacy did you leave down?
And so those human souls matter. And a lot of our houses are going to have been knocked down and something new is going to be made. And our cars are going to be long gone. And all these things that we that we can serve others and love others with will have been gone.
And the $50,000 extra that you earned and passed on to them will buy them a cup of coffee with inflation. So is that really worth it?
Right.
Do you think that there's still opportunities like there used to have back in the day still available for people in the next generation coming up?
What do you mean?
Like, I think, I was thinking about this as I was talking to my family, 30 years ago, getting a job, I feel like I can walk out, go anywhere, get a job, work hard. And I could build a family culture. I could buy a house. I could buy a car. I could make money. I feel like that was it.
We'll call it the American dream.
Sure, we can call it that. I don't know how everybody else felt about that, but yes. But I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Do you think it's still here?
Here's another stat that actually this one makes me very sad. So if you look at, I think it was 1975, the average price of a house was 2.5 times the average income of an American. Okay. So in theory, 2.5 years, if you saved your money and didn't spend any money, you could buy a house, right? 2.5 times. It's almost 8 times now. So 25% of people under 30 years old don't believe they'll ever be able to afford to buy a house ever in their entire life. And what does it do? Well, it changes your mindset. Like, why don't I buy myself a $30 cocktail and eat, drink, and be merry? Because I'm not
spend
saving
your money on these smaller things.
I'm not saving for anything. I might as well just. And so I do think that there is a mind shift that people feel like I can't win anymore. I would disagree with that. I think there are plenty of opportunities to win. I do think housing is very expensive. That's the housing development. But no, you can make money. You can go do great things. And I think that whether you want to call it the American dream or the Protestant work ethic or whatever it is, there are great opportunities to get out there and win, even without doing DEI training.
Stop being a wuss. Go to redballoon.work. Get you a real job. Be bold.
That's it.
You got a couple minutes. I got one more question here because I think this is probably a lot of people are struggling with this who work for, let's say work corporations or a company that's not Christian and doesn't really have very solid principles. Where do you recommend like drawing the line? This is a tough question because people are dealing with all sorts of different contexts here. Obviously, the DEI training, you have some legal backing to opt out of that. That's a good place. That's an easy place to draw the line. But
can I answer some of this?
Yeah.
If you're part of the 63%, then you ain't built for this. Let's just be honest.
What's the
63% who's willing to be controlled and self-centered? You ain't built to be in there to draw no lines.
Right.
You're not built for this fight.
Well, and if you're not fighting on anything.
Right. It's not you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not you.
But you got to exercise those muscles at some point.
That's exactly I think you should.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to figure out where. But most of the time when people think about fighting, at least this is how I think about it. I always think about, okay, is my family intact? So when I throw this punch, we're going to be all right.
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 When I think in my rubric for where you draw the line is it has to be not selfish. It has to be dying for others.
That's right.
And so if you're like,
That's
well, it's just
good.
all about me, then you probably aren't ready for this fight. But every time you're fighting for somebody else, if you're like, this is affecting my family, this is affecting my community, this is affecting my coworkers who all see me being a wimp. And so they're going to like, oh, I guess I can't be brave. I can't be
But
brave.
and you're in the majority being
I just want to say, like, maybe to your question, but also to yours is like, you need to stop lying. Because I think that Solzhenitsyn quote, live not by lies, that Roger picked up for his book, but I mean, like that's true. Like, I don't think people realize how many lies they are telling themselves and people around them
self-censor
all day long by like, I'm just keeping my head down. No, you're lying.
Yes.
You're going throughout your day lying, which is why people can't be happy.
Yeah.
When you are weighed down with lies, then you cannot walk in the joy of the Lord.
Yeah. Amen.
And you're not happy. And even if you don't know the Lord, you're a human being made in God's image. You can't live bundled, tied up in lies. And so stop lying.
Yeah.
And I think if you stop lying,
you might be able to see some of those lines clearer.
Yeah, you're gonna actually start seeing the lines. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is what 1 John 1 says. I mean, 1 John 1 says, people who say I don't have any sin are lying. They're deceiving themselves, and the truth is not in them.
Yeah.
But if you start confessing your lies and say that was a lie, that was a lie.
Right.
You've probably been lying to your wife. You've probably been lying to your kids too.
There's lies everywhere.
You're lying to yourself. You're lying to God. You're lie.
Where is it?
But I think like if you start confessing those lies, you come out of the darkness.
Yeah.
The light is going to start
that's
coming
good.
out, and I think you're going to start seeing where the line is. For you and for your family. It's not going to be so blurry and so fuzzy as you might have thought.
Because I mean, part of this is, you can be a centurion and be a Christian and working in a pagan, Roman government, and you just need to know that, hey, this is a pagan Roman government. I need to not lie about any of the context and situation I'm in.
Yes.
And be a good soldier, but also figure out where
and recognize
open your eyes.
You might get fired, but do it to the glory of God until you're relieved.
Yeah.
Andrew, last words.
I just think if you think about the scale of the number of Christians and conservatives in the workplace today, and if all of them stood up and just lived their values out loud in a day, everything changes in a minute, right?
Yeah.
Everything changes in a minute.
So much of that, man.
But it starts
So
with
much.
each person being courageous where they are.
Yeah. Amen.
And join our webinar. We got a webinar coming up in July.
Yeah, do it.
Me and Andrew.
Oh,
We've got a webinar coming up in July.
A great webinar.
Email us, contact@fightlaughfeast.com if you want to join that webinar.
I'm not going to say it. I'm going to let them say it.
What does it say?
Go baptize your kids. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them.
Today we are going to be talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle available at armoredrepublic.com. It's a very practical kit, including everything that you need all the way from hydration to first aid to general purpose to magazine holders and to a very comfortable plate carrier. So included is the Testudo Gen 3 plate carrier, and we also have 2 C3 plates that I've included in the bundle. So these plates are multi-curve, multi-hit ceramic, so they can take multiple rounds. I really like these plates because it's going to offer level 4 protection. Thank you guys for watching. Again, you can go to armoredrepublic.com, linked below, and you can purchase your Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle today.
What Christians often don't understand in the culture wars and in the fight for life is that abortion is not just one issue among many. Abortion is almost the linchpin upon which the liberal establishment swings. But what happens when you pull out a linchpin? The door falls off.
It takes a long time to go from a few intellectuals believing some bad ideas to bringing those ideas into the culture more and more and more until they bear fruit. The answer how we got here is because of the silence and inaction of the church.
Somebody might say, well, you know, Margaret Sanger, she didn't quite know exactly what she was doing. Well, first of all, you're speaking from ignorance, because she wrote about herself and she wrote what her plans were, so much so that she, impressed Adolf Hitler. How do you impress Hitler?
My father walks up to me wearing a BLM shirt and he says to me, why are you out here fighting a white man's issue? But he was a walking poster child for all things CRT, because in critical race theory, you see racism in all things and at all times. Even when a 6'4", 260-pound black man is trying to save a baby.
We're going to expose and discover who the real Margaret Sanger was and how her attack and assault against the family in America explains our current culture of death and upside-down world that we're living in today. This is where it all started. It was here that Sanger opened up her first unlicensed, illegal birth control clinic in 1916.
Study the past, not just to understand what happened then, but to understand what's happening now.
This is a Leviathan. How it's a fitting place to remember what happens when bad ideas are taken to their logical conclusion.
We bless the holy name of Jesus and we shout, let the baby live. Let the baby live. Let the baby live.
Stop waiting for someone else to grow a righteous culture of life for you and on your family's behalf. It will not happen. If not you, who? If not now, when?